I'm telling you, he's been disgruntled for 2 seasons.
Yeah. So just wait until, he doesn't perform in Winnipeg and the Canadian media is all over him.
Yeah.
And then he's going to wish he was back in LA. And then it's freezing cold and his girlfriend leaves him because she's from SoCal.
This is LA Kings Fan Talk with your boys, Rodney, Rob, Darren, and Mike.
What's up, everyone? We are finally back from our postseason golf vacation, and we're ready to talk some Kings hockey. Let's start with the trades. So before we get to the big trade, let's talk about what led up to it. Mike, what are your thoughts on the Kings sending Sean Durzi to the Coyotes for a second-round pick?
I like it. Trading Durzi while his value is as high as possible. So second round's good enough for him. I'm all team Spence, so ready for him to hop in. He deserves it. Points per game. His points per game in Ontario are out of control. So, and he played for us in the playoff series against Edmonton, not this past season, but the year before, and he looked more than well enough ready to play. So, I'm all team Spence.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think it was a good trade. Like, I think Durzi, he was. It sucks to lose him. He's a 25-year-old power play guy on the right side, but we have too many guys behind him that are pushing him out, and we don't want him playing on the left side again. So I think to get what we got for him, probably would have been fine seeing him get a little bit more, but high second round pick, probably more than good enough.
All right, Rob, what'd you think?
Well, I think my answer is going to be double-sided on most everything we talk about today, because there's so many nuances to all these little moves. I think Durzi had a little more value, but it's hard to say. What's more than a second round? A first round? Is he worth first round? Probably not. But I think he could have been part of a package to grab something a little more. I thought he had a little more value. There's a little more value left on the table there, I think, because he's NHL ready, obviously. He's already got plenty of experience. He's one of the few guys that are feisty enough on our team. Runs the power play. He's offensive-minded to the core. He has lapses, and I'm the biggest critic of him. We chased that 1 point he blew in the first game last year. I'll never forget it. But I hated to see him go, but I'm okay with getting that draft pick back. But now I'm not okay because we sent it away. So,
hey Rob, if he doesn't cough up that puck against Vegas, game 1, probably a first round pick, right?
Yeah.
The return? No,
but we're probably got that point when it probably chokes off a couple of the teams. I think Vegas chokes because they wouldn't have played as well as they were at the end of the year because we're too much in their hip pocket. It changes a lot, actually.
He's saying, we would have won the cup. That's what he's saying, basically.
Probably.
All right, well, you touched on it. Go ahead, Mike. What do you got?
Domino effect. We want to talk about domino effect, right? Like if Vegas and Edmonton had played each other in the first round and we had Edmonton in the second round, we could easily beat Edmonton in the second round because then we would have had Fiala, and in a way we kind of wore down Edmonton because they started running 11-7 for 4 games, right? So McDavid. So
you're basically saying what I just said.
Yeah. I'm just backing you up is what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Supporting you. Good wingman. I'm supporting you. Is that okay?
That's right, Iceman.
You made me feel like Goose won Iceman right now, so.
Well, that leads us into the major trade that went down a couple days ago with the Kings acquiring Pierre-Luc Dubois from the Jets in exchange for Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, and that second-round pick we were just talking about. All right, Rob, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Once again, don't mind what we gave up. Really don't. Vilardi, restricted free agent, disgruntled. We've talked on our podcast over the last 2 seasons. I think he's been disgruntled ever since he got sent down early, and then, hey, you got to go work in the minors on some things, and then we pull him back up, and you could just see when he was successful, there was always a chip on his shoulder, and it wasn't a chip to everyone out in hockey land. It was a specific chip to like the upper management of the Kings. Like, I don't know. I just always felt he was disgruntled. But anyways, him leaving, I don't know. You know, I think he would have been that arbitration deal coming up. An arbiter sees that he scored the 20 goals and, you know, the few games as he played, and he might have been expensive. So him leaving, had to move Iafallo because of the cap. Here's a guy, I mean, how good, everyone loves him, but really, he's had his chance. First line minutes, never scored 20 goals in the seasons he's been here. I don't know how much we really lose there. I know people are going to scream, oh, but he's a glue guy and everyone wants him on his line, whatever. He hasn't produced like a $4 million player.
Does the little things, bruh.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he was like slotted to be a $4 million fourth liner, right?
Yeah, basically. And the other part of it was who?
Kupari.
And oh my God, that one hurts a little.
That's your man crush, man. Leo, baby Leo.
Mine too.
He started throwing the body. We lack body bangers and goaltending. So we get rid of a body banger and then throw in that draft pick that we so desperately need.
And the Kings are trying to get bigger, and they give up 2 of their biggest guys in Vilardi and Kupari.
All in all, you package that up and you sit there and go, well, this is the luxury of having
all these assets.
Your cup runneth over, right? So we get rid of some guys. It opens up spots. Like you said, Spence could come in now that Durzi's gone. Some Kaliev might start getting a little more burn out there. Those things are all good. But now we bring in Dubois at 8 years, $8.5 million. There's Twitter guys out there that say he's worth it. I don't know if he's worth it, but because look at Arvidsson. Arvidsson's had 360-point seasons, plus seasons. He's had 30 goals. Like, did all that when he was 25. Did he get $8.5 million for 8 years? I don't understand why. It just seems like a lot of money.
I think they're saying, in a few years with inflation and the cap getting higher, by then it's going to be a good deal or something like that. So
all that being said,
I looked up the 2 guys closest to him with newer contracts. It's Bo Horvat and
Timo Meier.
No, not no. I'm talking about like centers that signed recently. And Timo Meier's a little higher, but it was Bo Horvat and
Hughes 8.5.
Yeah, he's 8.5. He's 8 times 8.5. Yeah, they were the same. And they were like last season. They were like points per game. I think there was 0.89, and Dubois was like 0.86 points per game. Because he didn't play a full 82.
And then I sat there and said, and then you throw on the baggage of being in 2 spots and wanting out of 2 spots, whether he asked for the trade or not, didn't ask for the trade. I know he just said, no, I'm not re-signing. But to say that publicly the way he did, it just comes up, especially after demanding leave in the first place. I don't know. I think we caved a little. I think there was overpayment, but at the end of the day, we are better. Until, hold that thought, until we have to get rid of Arvidsson to sign a goalie. Now we're kind of hurt, I think. If we get rid of Roy, I think we could survive that a little more than getting rid of Arvidsson.
Did you read my notes?
I don't know.
But
I was just gonna say, I wonder if we should.
I was gonna say, Darren, what'd you think?
Jersey.
Yeah. Let Rob finish. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
no,
Rob, finish.
I know. This is why we're discussing this too.
Yeah.
I thought about that, Darren. Why not Roy instead of Durzi? But then with Durzi there, Durzi and Spence to me are more alike than anything.
Sure.
People don't ever. All you people out there trying to say Spence and Clark are the same, you better bite your tongue. They're not the same. Clark's going to be better than Doughty.
But I think Spence, comparing Spence and Durzi, I think Spence is a better skater, plays better defensively. And I mean, you compare their Ontario numbers, right? Offensive numbers, and Spence blows Durzi's numbers out of the water. So hopefully that translates to the next level, right? But Rob, I'm on the same page as you. Somebody needs to move. And the three people I think of are Arvidsson, Moore, or Roy. And I think the one that hurts us the least is moving Roy.
Right. We're not getting rid of Moore's contract. It's too long. I don't think a team's willing to take it. Arvidsson at 1 year left. Roy 1 year left. I think they're easy to move actually. So
yeah.
Well, Darren, what'd you think about that trade?
I think initially I was in the Rob camp of it was an overpayment, but I'm in the camp now of it's fine.
You watched you heard that little Vilardi
No,
interview excerpt, and now you hate him, right?
Yeah.
It's not even that. The only thing I think that is because we don't know the next move, it puts a lot of like confusion about what we're doing. But I think this, just like Rob said, it makes us better. And I think we have 1 year of kind of like really cap hell, and then next year it kind of like gets reset a little bit between the cap going up and all the guys coming off. So I don't mind it. Like, I think getting PLD, like, it turns us from, the team that rolled 4 lines. Now we're going to roll 3 lines, and we're going to kind of have a 4th line that's just kind of like a specialist line or kids or whatever that we probably barely play.
Trades, not lines.
No, I know. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that the way it works out is we had 10 top 9 forwards going into that trade, and now we have 9 top 9 forwards. And like, it hurts us depth wise in the sense of we can't absorb an injury as well, but you don't play to injuries. Like, you can't do that. Like, so I think it helps us out. We now have it helps set up where we're going. So I like it.
I think what's frustrating a little bit is reading so much Twitter and listening to message boards and all that stuff, that fan wise, I'm happy because I think like I said, I think we're better. So I'm happy as a fan, but the armchair GM and everybody, we all think we know more than the pros, right?
Heck yeah, we do.
Rob Blake's an idiot. Actually, he's gets paid a lot of money to not be an idiot. So, and we're the idiots thinking that we know better. And I think that's where it gets a little frustrating is, come on, we could have gotten more out of that. And who knows, maybe we couldn't have. We have no clue.
Yeah.
Did you guys
maybe Montreal came over with like, they were offering Caulfield, so we need the 2nd round pick and your deal's better.
Yeah, who knows?
You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Did you guys watch that first interview with Pierre-Luc? And what did you guys think? What was your first impression?
I think I definitely believe that it was a dream come true to come to LA. That's 100%. I believe that.
You sure that was a dream come true, or was it the money?
I think it was the opposite of Vilardi's interview. He wants to be here, and Vilardi didn't.
Well, Darren, having spent a lot of time in Winnipeg, I'm gonna go with what Darren says.
No, I think either way, I think it was fun. Like, I think he said a lot of the right things, and I think he's going to be a fun addition to the team.
I love people trying to stick up for Vilardi still. You guys are taking it out of context. Well, he only meant like not the die-hard fan. Man, you guys, that's just like you saying I don't know what he was thinking. You don't know what he was thinking either. So shut your mouth. I'm taking it as a fan. He said that,
and then like qualified it after. Like, he was like, "Oh, LA's not really a hockey town," and he's like, "I mean, they have their fans, but like, the rest of them." Like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. So anyone out there trying to tell me what he thought, because there's no way I know what he thinks, I'm going to say the same thing to you. There's no way you know what he thinks either. And I'm offended because I heard what I heard, and I'm taking it personal.
So, and he strikes me as a kind of sensitive, take it to heart guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's been. I'm telling you, he's been disgruntled for 2 seasons.
So just wait until he doesn't perform in Winnipeg and the Canadian media is all over him, and then he's gonna wish he was back in LA. And then it's freezing cold, and his girlfriend leaves him because she's from SoCal. Blah blah blah.
When I was watching that interview with Pierre-Luc, I think what I liked the most about it was when they asked him, "What are your thoughts on being able to play with Kopitar and Jeannot?" And he just lit up and he got this big old smile on his face. He was so excited. You could see it before he even talked. So that's what I liked about that interview. But
what about the trade?
The trade was I pretty like everybody else. I was pissed off with the amount we were giving up to get him, especially with the talk around the league of he's gonna quit. He's gonna want to leave in like a year or two. He's a drama queen, all that kind of stuff. But after doing more research and cooling down a little bit, I think we might be pretty good this year. So I'm on board with the trade. I just hope he can live up to that $8.5 million here. We'll see.
So beyond that, now you think we're going to be better this year, but I still think playoff wise, we need body bangers, and I'm looking at the lineup.
There's not many there.
I love Arthur Kaliev, but he needs to change his game. He's too big to be that soft. Lazat's too small to be that
too
tough.
slow. He's too slow to be a body banger.
Yeah, can't hit anybody.
You could reverse hit thing. You could still be physical. I'm just Quentin Byfield better figure things out quickly.
Yeah.
Right, Mike, go ahead. What'd you think about the trade?
First time back in a long time, right? So did a little bit of research. Columbus quotes, right? On the way out, Columbus quotes. Let me read you something real quick. On playing with lack of effort, he's a sublime talent. He's superb, effortless skater, and he's used to getting by on his talent alone. Effort is optional. Sublime hands, great vision. He only uses these assets to get by with the least amount of effort possible. Could be the best player
in the game today. That you're talking about?
Could be the best player in the game today if he chose to be. He doesn't choose to be, and for that choice, Columbus fans will continue to hate him.
Jeff Carter.
Right.
What?
Jeff Carter. Exactly.
I got it right in the first one.
Yeah.
So what are you saying? They said the same thing about Dubois?
They said the same thing. Well, they didn't actually say that about Dubois, but that's what they said about Carter, right? And look what happened when we got Carter, right? So TLD is not the first person to try to get out of Columbus, right? And he was under Tortorella. Carter wasn't even under Tortorella, right? Never asked for a trade out of Winnipeg. We all assumed he did, but he just he followed Matthew Tkachuk, Johnny Gaudreau. That's the trend right now. I'm not going to re-sign, is all he said, right? So Winnipeg says, all right, well, we got to trade him so we don't get something for nothing. So, when I look at that, I'm like, all right, the attitude about it, whatever. We can kind of forget about that. All the Winnipeg interviews I've heard, they said he was their best player through the first 50 games. Last year, he put up really great points, and he was playing with Kyle Connor, who scored his career high in goals, 41 goals, playing with Dubois. So it's a perfect match if you put him and Fiala together, right? But yeah, when I first heard the trade, obviously had the same reaction as everyone else. God, it's a lot of assets. But in the end, it was between us and Montreal, and we had more NHL ready players, so that's who we traded. And kudos to Blake for not letting it slip away, not chancing it, right? Just throwing everything he has at it to make sure you get the deal done. That's how I felt about the trade.
So you did. You went through all that just to say kudos to Blake.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew that was
Yeah.
the reason this trade happened, right? I blame Byfield for this, right? If he would be playing to his expectations, if he would even show glimpses of being able to take over for Kopitar.
Well, if you can't blame Byfield because all this, the team scouts said he's going to be or he's not a project, but he's going to take longer to develop. So blame the scouts more than Byfield.
But not Blake for drafting him.
Well, he doesn't make the decision. It's his draft team that tells him who to draft, right?
No, Blake. He gets
the final decision.
Yeah, he can pick whoever he wants.
Yeah, but the only reason our team, for whatever reason, is great at drafting 2 through 7 rounds, But the first round we miss all over and over and over again, right?
Let's just hope the Byfield.
The last person to really hit in the first round was Kempe, and it took him forever to hit.
Let's just hope that Byfield ends up being a decent winger at some point. We'll see.
And
He can still be center.
Yeah,
He can still be center.
He's still young, and all this does
He's 20, man. Relax.
all this does is give Byfield all the time in the world to develop, right? There's no pressure on him to develop.
So you guys think they would have traded for Pierre-Luc if Byfield was doing amazing as a first or second line center?
Still would have. If it's the same cost, we're not trading Byfield.
So you're going to play him the fourth line or the third line? You're going to make Deneau the fourth line center? Think about it. Think about it.
Dubois played the wing last year.
Yeah.
So
all it is security for when Kopitar finally falls off.
So let's talk about that right there. That's what I'm talking about. With what we got right now, if you start talking about lines,
He found a way to get in the lines.
I think Deneau is, your quintessential second line shutdown center. Ryan Kessler, all those guys that this is their job to be a second line center, because the defensive end of it, you don't want to put them down to third because, it's third line. You don't shut down third lines. You shut down top two lines. So if you stick Deneau in second line center and don't move him, what about putting Kopi third line and have Kopi, Byfield, Kaliev on that third line? And now you're looking at that top line of PLD, Fiala, and Kempe. Those three guys right there off of last season's numbers would be a top five line in the league.
Are you reading my notes, Rob? What's going on? No, actually, I have something similar to what you're saying. Not as drastic. I would put Kopitar in the second line, and I would run PLD on the as the number one center. Right.
But I'm just saying, if you put Kopitar down there, take away him playing against other teams' top lines, how much better can Kopitar do offensively from a third line standpoint? With a couple of young kids running around doing all that other stuff.
But Rob, do we want to pay our third line center $10 million? Like, come on.
That's this
think
last
of all the
year.
Twitter.
That's this last year. Okay.
So think about all the Twitter people are going to.
This is the last year of 10 years.
How many third line centers would be ecstatic to make $10 million to play in third line?
Right. No, I don't think it matters. I think however the lines shake out, like, we have a great top nine. I think the only three that are set in stone is probably Moore, Arvidsson, Deneau, if they don't get traded. If one of those three gets traded, obviously, like, who knows what we're going to do. But
which is why I said trading Arvidsson kind of will hurt a little bit, because we kind of like that line.
It definitely will.
Yeah.
I think, I don't even think there would be, you can say, like, here's the first line, second line, third line. Because I think what they should do is just those top three lines, distribute them evenly, right? And, good luck trying to stop those three lines, right?
Yeah. I said it earlier. They're going to roll three lines. It's going to be Colorado did this when they won the cup.
Filler Millen,
right.
Yeah.
Colorado did this when they won the cup. They had what they did is they made units of 5-man unit, right? And so basically you had 3 5-man units, and then your fourth line is just guys who play in different situations. Maybe they get a couple minutes here and there, 5-on-5, and that's what the Kings are going to do. They're moving to that system this year.
And look, we could have easily, it goes back to Edmonton because we lost to them the past 2 years, right? And what did they do? They were lucky that Fiala was out for most of the series and he was injured, right? But what did they do? As soon as they got in trouble, they stacked their line. They stacked McDavid and Draisaitl together. Well, good luck doing that when now we have 3 lines where we can run on the no problem, and you're not going to be able to stop all 3 lines.
We don't have 3 lines until Byfield and Kaliev decide to stop being young,
true,
and crappy. They need to be young and good. So, as much as people want to say the 3-line stuff, we don't have 3 lines unless those guys take steps forward.
But if you're going to distribute the minutes, he's going to get the least of it. That line's going to get the least of it. Because you can't have all 3 of those lines not on the ice as much as possible. Kopitar, Kempe, Byfield, right? Or whoever they want to put next to him. And then Fiala and PLD together, whoever's on their right. Moore and Deneau will be together, and whoever's on their right. So Arvidsson could play with PLD and Fiala. He could play with
Chromiak.
Yeah, it could move around.
But yeah, there's some guys that are ready to step up.
Yeah,
And,
I
and,
think
may-
Fogmo,
and maybe you know,
Chromiak.
if Kaliev's not ready, yeah, like you said, Lafreniere, Fajimo, like those guys are ready.
Ferrier, Lafreniere's in New York.
Fagimo,
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Fagimo.
this trade definitely put a lot of eggs in the prospects are ready. Like it's time for them to, shit or get off the pot. Basically, like it's time. Like Kaliev, Fagimo, Madden, Turcotte, all of those guys. Like I think Turcotte's probably the last one on the list because I think they look at his injury situation just be healthy for a season before we care about it.
How about let him be on the fourth line this coming year?
Yeah,
When he breaks, okay, you're done. Come up here, play 100 miles an hour. When you finally crack and break again and again and again, okay, you've had enough chances.
Yeah.
When's his last chance?
I mean, who knows what's going on with Akil Thomas, but maybe he shows up in camp and he's great. He's always been a high prospect, but he's also been injured. And they can always get like a cheap veteran, right? And maybe that's
there's not a lot of cheap veterans out there that you.
Oh, there will be. There will be.
The names are like Zach Aston Reese, and it's pretty grim.
So speaking of
the amount of money
units, speaking of 5-man units, to make 5 men, you got to talk about defenders. Obviously, Doughty and Anderson are our top pairing, but there's a lot of people out there that think Gavrikov and Roy had the chemistry that's going to be our second pairing. I'm all for letting Gavrikov and Clark be the second pairing because I think that's almost an exact duplicate of Anderson and Doughty.
Here. And if we were the coaches, that would probably happen, but we're not the coach, so you know what he's going to do.
Well, it's what we were talking about before. We don't have enough cap room. Somebody needs to get traded. I think Roy is the most expendable.
How do we not have a cap room? They just said today they want to get a goalie between the 1 and 1.3 million range, and they're set.
Well, good luck with that, right?
No, we want. It sounds like they want
defense.
Copley to run the show and just have a veteran backup goalie. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, you just said his name, so we might as well talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Look at what makes Aiden Hill and Copley different.
Right.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point.
Why isn't Copley a playoff goalie? He never played in the playoffs.
Right?
So
They didn't give him
know.
a chance. Give him a chance this year.
What is that? Tim Thomas didn't play in the playoffs till he was like 30 years old, right?
Look at all he did was win, no matter what. That's what he did last year. Just give him a chance to do it all season. See what he's got.
See what happened. Yeah.
If something happens and he sucks and we have to make a trade, then we talk about making a trade before the deadline. But
exactly.
Let's roll with
Yeah,
it.
that's a good point. That's a good point. We probably don't have to.
Everyone's talking about Copley.
So bring back Quick. Just kidding. So yeah.
Hey, so when everyone hates Copley, hey, we got goaltending issue. I get it. I agree because we only have the one. But what's wrong with that one?
Well, he's kind of a wild card, right? Because
is he? I thought he played half our season, and we were a pretty damn good team with him playing.
But that's half a season over a whole career, right? In the NHL.
You're putting a lot of eggs in the fact that he's going to duplicate what he did last year, but I think he can with our defensive structure and the guys in
Tell
front
me
of
why
him.
he wouldn't duplicate what he did last year.
I don't.
I'll tell you why he will do it because he did it. Tell me why he won't do it.
And
I
Darren, don't you think our team is stronger today than it was at the end of the season? Why wouldn't he do better with a stronger team in front of him?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't say
it's possible. Like Darren said, it's a lot of eggs in one basket.
Yeah. I think that's the only fear is we are putting like that lot of eggs in one basket, and it's like if we have kind of a failure point, and it's scary, but
So you're saying we need those eggs to produce?
Yep, pretty much. So look, the thing is, this is what every other team has dealt with for a long time. We as Kings fans are very blessed that we had Jonathan Quick in our lives for 16 years, 17 years. And
we're gonna get him back, so don't.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
he's gonna sign a 1-day contract and retire with us.
Quick on the minimum, but this is the reality of being a fan when you don't have a top 5, top 10 goalie. You cycle them every year. You're getting a new goalie. Like, look at every team. This year, we got this guy goalie.
Worked out for Vegas.
Yeah. Well, Rob and Rodney know better, and I know a little bit, but back in the day before Quick, there was definitely plenty of goalies that ran through LA.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think this is going to be the reality. You don't pay a goalie unless they're a top 5 goalie. Like that's why I was kind of leaning away from paying Hellebuck. He's really good, but he's almost 30.
Oh, you mean
Like
what Rob Blake did to an unproven goalie? Masterclass.
I mean, that was based off of what his results were, and it was only 3 years. Like I think a 3-year deal is short enough time to be fine, but like you pay him long term a lot of money, that's a problem because goalie is so funky. So I think I'm fine with them throwing a dart and getting a Laurent Brossoit or one of the Carolina goalies who doesn't sign there, like any of those guys, get them cheap, and that's it. I think Rob saw my tweet, a couple weeks back. Someone was like, "Oh, who are the Kings getting?" I was like, "Whoever's cheapest, doesn't fucking matter." Like, so.
Agreed. Backup, and then, but see, to me, what we're talking about is a backup goalie because Phoenix Stopley is plenty good right now, and until he's not. Or
Agreed.
He is.
Yeah, and if he's not, then we look to make a trade for the deadline.
Yeah, or maybe Eric Portillo's ready.
Maybe.
One quick note. Back to Vilardi. The one thing I forgot to mention is it may be a blessing in disguise because when he went down with like 2 or 3 weeks left in the season, I know we all had the same moment, the same thought in that moment. Like, oh shit,
His back, he's done.
I hope he's back. Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
My back and my neck.
Yeah. And I think he's probably in his contract negotiations, the Kings wanted a bridge deal and he wanted 8 years because in case his back goes out.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
And don't let the door hit you on the way out.
All right. Let's talk about the draft. All right. Whoever wants to jump in and talk about these picks, feel free to jump in. So, second round, Jakub Dvorak, 6'5", 203-pound left shot defenseman. Anybody want to jump in and talk about him?
I think the size, and glad he's left-handed.
I think this one was kind of like a project kind of thing. They see a lot of upside, but it's going to be 5-6 years before he's closer ready. So
like, who would you compare him to on a King Stanley Cup championship team? Like maybe a taller, maybe a little less offensive version of Willie Mitchell?
It's going to take him 4 or 5 years before he's even sniffing, being productive.
I would like to say we drafted
probably
organization need rather than best player available. But when that need is going to take that long to develop, you start going, okay. But I'm okay because anytime you can draft big guys on the back end, I'm that's my jam right there. I'm not a little guy like Mike.
And big guys that can skate. He can actually skate pretty decent. So
actually remember him in World Juniors that we've watched and stuff like that. He's not bad.
I think this pick too was partly because I can't remember what position he holds, but one of the Kings like scouts or directors of player development was his coach or played with him and is going to be his coach next year.
Right.
So it's like we know a lot
about
Nepo
baby.
Yeah, pretty much. So like it's probably a pick that's maybe a little bit of a reach because we know him, but I think it's kind of a project pick, and like Rob said, with the size and skating, like if he develops, he could be pretty good. So.
All right, in the third round with our second pick, Cohen Zemer, 6 foot, 195-pound right shot winger out of Canadian Major Junior League.
So the wife, she just likes to regurgitate what she hears all the time. So the Zemer kid, he's like Dustin Brown. It's like, okay, because you heard somebody say that, okay.
Well, the knock on him is his worst quality is his skating, which was probably Brown's worst quality. But he likes making his presence known, always hitting people. Great shot. I don't know if Brown had a great shot, but this guy has a great shot. The only knock on him is his skating, so we'll see.
But once again, if he's a banger, I'll take him.
Right. Yeah. We definitely need bangers.
Yeah.
We need all the bangers we can get on this team of softies.
Yep. Can we fast track these two guys?
Yeah. All right, 4th round, Hampton Slukinski, 6'1", 179-pound goalie from
America.
Warwood High School, obviously.
America.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was Mike's nickname in high school. Slokinski.
I think
No?
so.
Yeah.
So what do you think? They're just trying to like fill up the goalie pool for the future, hoping something happens with this guy.
Organization need this. That's what this draft was. Which is kind of nice. Isn't that what every draft's supposed to be? You draft what you need.
Well, I know a lot of people are saying, F that, let's just draft the best player available because
You
drafting
would
what we
think.
need doesn't turn out. So
But we needed left-handed defensemen. We need goalies. We need guys that bang. Guess what we picked?
we did all those things.
Apparently, we need right wingers too because we drafted 3 of them. So 2 of them. Never mind.
All right. The player with the best name that we drafted in the 5th round, Matthew Mania. 6 foot.
That is a good. That is a good.
187-pound right shot D-man out of Sudbury. Darren, what'd you think? I know you did your research. What'd you think?
I think I don't really know much past like the 4th round, 5th round guys. Like those guys kind of fall under the radar, but everything I read was, very positive, and he kind of fell to us a little bit. So I think, great pick. Like you just pick up talent at this area. Like guys fall, you take them. So, hopefully he develops into another Sean Durzi and we can trade him for a 2nd round pick in a couple of years.
And then take that 2nd round pick and instead of drafting with it, package him for another center, right? Okay. All right. Our last pick, 6th round, Ryan Conmey. Ryan Conmey, 5'10", 170, right shot forward out of Sioux City.
So with him, what I like about that pick is that he was the best player on his team, and the team wasn't very good. So you always have to start to wonder, how good would he have been on a good team?
Right.
So that there's some I think there's a little bit of upside there. I just when you're that deep into the draft, here's a kid that scored 33 goals in a season.
Right.
It's like, okay, he knows how to shoot the puck. Let's gamble. Let's do it. Actually, so I'm not like Mike and Darren that loved Rob Blake, but I gotta say I was okay with this draft for what we had. I kind of like what we got. I'm okay with everything.
So what would you grade Rob Blake on the draft then?
It wasn't Rob Blake. I grade the scouts. I applaud Rob Blake for listening to his team. That's what I applaud.
Listening
I
to
feel
the
like you said
scouting staff.
I feel like you said the opposite earlier, but okay. So do you guys think there's another move coming, or do you think another trade?
There has to be. There has to be. There has to be another trade coming because we have no cap space.
Well,
So-
Rob and Rob think we're good.
We do.
If we're running,
We've got like
if we're not
1.4,
running,
1.5.
If we're not
Okay.
running scratches, if we're not running any scratches, then sure, we're fine. But that's running 12 forwards, 62 goalies, and that's it. We don't have a 13th forward or a 7th D, and I don't think that's going to fly. So I think you could get away with trading. There's a world where you could trade like Lizotte and Grunstrom, and those two open up space for 3 players instead of 2, and do 3 minimum guys. But
I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to trade Lizotte. I was
that's
listening
what-
to Rob's boy, Rob
he
Blake,
mentioned him.
and the reporters didn't talk about him. He jumped in and said, "Hey, Lizotte is part of our core. He is our number 4 centerman, and he's staying at least for this season until the trade deadline." So
100%. But at the end of the day, if they need to make a move and they don't want to move Roy, they don't want to move Arvidsson, they don't want to move Moore, they can trade Lizotte and Grunstrom so they can fit 3 players on the roster instead of 2. But we're going to be up against it for a little bit there. So we'll see how it goes.
nothing wrong with being up against it, right, Rob?
Nothing wrong.
All right, Kings fans, don't forget to like, subscribe, and what else, Rob?
And share.
That is our show for today. Until next time, stay classy and go Kings, go!
I'm back, baby. I'm back, baby.
Well, that's yet to be determined.